House lawmakers want to question former White House counsel Don McGahn. The Democratic-led Judiciary Committee subpoenaed McGahn as part of its investigation into possible obstruction of justice by President Trump. McGahn is a key player with direct knowledge about President Trump's efforts concerning special counsel Robert Mueller's probe into Russian interference into the recent elections. The subpoena also includes 4 other White House officials: former White House Security Director Carl Klein, who overturned security clearances, has refused to appear, forcing the House to hold him in contempt of Congress.
KUSI contributor and AM 760 radio host Mark Larson here to weigh in. So, Mark, what kind of questions might the House counsel ask of McGahn?
They'll start with, are you going to show up? Because, you don't have to show up if you have a subpoena. They could find you in contempt, and then the merry-go-round begins. Just remember, there is a separation of powers. There's legislative, there's the House and the Senate, there's the executive, the White House, there's judicial, Supreme Court, lower courts. I'll just tell you this about Don McGahn in terms of his reputation.
Who you just met with recently.
He was, well, we were at an event for the San Diego Federalist Society about a week ago Friday, and he was kind of a surprise keynoter. I talked to him before dinner. He gave some remarks in dinner right before things were coming down. He was cool, calm, collected, talked a little bit about it being interesting to work for the president. No kidding, that's not breaking news, but he has a very, very high degree of respectability. His track record in D.C. is really flawless. I was talking to Ed Meese, former Attorney General, who's on my show on radio a lot. Talked to him today, and he says, Don McGahn, he said, first of all, stand-up guy. If you look at the Supreme Court appointments and the lower court, that was his job going in there as counsel. He's very patriotic. He's true to the Constitution. So I'm thinking, if push comes to shove, and he says, listen, I'm not going to go and comply with the subpoena. Go ahead and find me in contempt or whatever. I've already given over 30 hours of testimony, so that was under oath. So there's that, because he knows, having been involved in the Kavanaugh push to get him in the Supreme Court and so forth, that turns up to be a show trial of sorts on Capitol Hill. So that's the way it's been. That's the way it certainly is now since the first of the year.
Did he tell you anything when you spoke with him about this or anything else that's interesting?
He was not concerned about it. It wasn't like he was waiting for, like, oh, my goodness, it's going to come out that I said. One of the things they've been focusing on this week was about how he'd said Trump asked him to do some crazy stuff. Okay, presidential advisors are there to advise the president, and occasionally, like Reagan to Gorbachev, say, well, niet. We're not going to do that. I asked Meese, I said, Ed Meese, I said, when you were advising as Attorney General for Reagan or in the governor's office, that's not a first time that happens. He says it happens all the time. They're there in your circle to say, no, I don't think so, once in a while. And they get very open, and that there's a lawyer-client privilege too if you go down that route, and that's what Meese had pointed out too. And McGahn has certainly addressed this over time in terms of what he believes, that either you have that confidentiality or not. Congress, remember, it is a balance of power. So Congress does not have superpower over everybody else. They have certain things they do constitutionally to call oversight and so forth. But in terms of just we say it, show up, and do our bidding, not quite that simple. So McGahn is, if they think they're going to get something different, I think he's cool, calm, unflappable. I don't think they'd throw him off if he did go testify.
All right, Mark Larson, always great to hear your opinion.
You bet.
You can watch him on 760, AM 760, Monday through Friday.
That's right.
10 to noon.
It's all theater of the mind.
Watch and listen.
Well, online.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you can.
Yes, you can.
Thank you, Mark.
Spy cams, the Russians.
Appreciate it.